this one is a chunky, interesting one. It's going to test us all. Okay, Fire of Transformation, the solar hero. Who is the solar hero right now? So, interesting one. Check in with yourself. Make sure we're able to control our emotions and our own projections and thoughts and beliefs. And check in with our higher self. And we'll see how we go. So, as we know, and I'm just a messenger, just downloading stuff and hopefully sharing that with some love and acceptance. Set the frame. Okay, so the solar hero, as we know, Christ means the Anointed One, or the top of the tree. You know, the person with the most energy on the planet at any one time. Right? We can establish that pretty easy. So, I ask you, who is it now? We'll step through a few things and see what we come up with. So, let's take Jesus for instance, because Jesus in our culture is the solar hero that we know best. Relatively. And take Krishna, Muhammad, Buddha, any of the solar heroes throughout history, they all go through the same themes throughout their entire lifetime. Because if you have to get to the top of the tree in the hero's journey, you got to go through a few things to learn a few things about yourself each time and how it works. And also we know that the spirit world, or outside of the collective consciousness, operates in symbols and vibration and sound frequency as well. So we have to see through our society and the messages that we're put there with mass media to try to get a clear picture. So I'm going to step through a few steps and then we'll see what we come up with, shall we? Interesting. Have you got an idea so far? Alright. So, with this character, the solar hero, we're going to have people are going to have different reactions. So stories based on their perception of the stored stuff in their body from whatever level they're at. So this is a really great way to test yourself, or to test other people of the level they're actually at. So if we're preaching love and acceptance, can we actually practice it? And try with some high level subtle body consciousness and awareness is very helpful. So, the establishment, ruling classes, political elites in Jesus' time. Hey, that was the Roman Empire, and of course the Jewish rabbis and stuff as well. So, they're not going to like him at all. So, what are they going to do? They're going to cut him down, they're going to cut down this solar hero to make sure that they can keep their own safe and secure net of power and control. Because that's where their vested interest and their safety and security lies. So it basically takes mammalian and reptilian brain all the way down. That's where their interests are. So that's where the perception has to come from. And they're going to throw out propaganda and stories, and they're going to try to tear down this person because, hang on, he's got more energy. I need to get his energy. It's kind of like the Highlander themes in the Highlander movies. We need to get that more energy. We all want more energy. So how we project ourselves onto that person up there is up to us. But, you know, are we going to be helping or hindering them? So the establishment are going to try to cut it down. They're going to use propaganda and stories, and that because they're the ones who create history, or you could just say high story, it's in the word, right? Then they're not going to want to change things, and they're going to rewrite the story of what Jesus or the solar hero has done or was, so then we don't learn the exact story of what they did, so then we can all be more like the solar hero and learn and grow. And yeah, so they're not going to do that. Hence we have religion. It's just another level of power and control as a filter to get a blockage from us to the solar hero, to allow us to ascend and get out of our programming and things. Yeah. So, the middle classes, they're going to be, you know, people who have good jobs, supposedly well educated in the system, and they're generally going to be umming and ahhing and have a bit of, you know, not so sure about what's going on. So they're going to wait for that little bit of time before they take any action or set an opinion, or quite often a projection from their emotional selves, because they have half a vested interest in the system, and then they also have, you know, the morality and the beautiful people that we like to be, there's going to be a wrestle between this. So there's going to be some up and down through the body and the subconscious mind as things change and shift. So they're going to kind of go, don't know, depends, it's more of an individual thing. So, the poverty classes, the working classes, well, let's look in Jesus' time, they were straight onto him. You know, he's great, he's the solar hero, he's the savior, he's going to help us. Sound familiar for today's time as well? And in every time, because time doesn't really exist, it's just a story. Holographic images and things. Yeah. Because, why do they do that? Well, their life's not going too well. You know, they have hard jobs, they struggle to make ends meet, they don't have enough money, the system doesn't help them all that much. So they're going to go, hey, we got nothing to lose, our jobs, our lives are pretty crap in many ways. We're going to go from whatever's changing. You know, if it's as long as it's changing, it might help me, then they're going to go for it. Because they're already very insecure anyway, so you might as well just have a go. You can't get any worse. Is enough. Is that happening now? Yeah. Spiritual people. This is the interesting one. So, true, practical, down-to-earth, connected to Mother Nature, spiritual people are going to see things from where they are a little bit closer to being grounded. But the light and love fluffy type spiritual people are going to have real problems with it. Why? Because especially for those with a lot of heavy metals and a lot of heavy and dense aspects to their body, and is generally stored in the lower half of the body in particular predominantly, then their stuff is going to get stored up by the solar hero, who's the top of the tree, number one energy, because there's a lot of heavy metals and gunk, and therefore social programming and a lot of emotional depth and heaviness, which is generally guilt and shame. So we go from number one to dense and heavy guilt and shame. It's going to be a lot of energy shifts and a lot of belief system changes if they haven't done the grounded practical spiritual work, if they're trying to do the fluffy stuff, because they're going to try to compare themselves, as we always do with that reflection, with the solar hero at number one top energy. It's not going to go well, because they've got a bucket load more energy, but they're trying to perceive the same level and the same level at the crown and the ajna, or the third eye, and they're not there yet, but they think they are. That's the funny part. But really, their imbalances, which are generally stored in the lower abdomen with all the dark, heavy, delusional stuff that manifests itself up to here to be interested in light and love fluffy stuff, without actually trying to expand from the top rather than having a firm base and expand from platform to get high from a base chakra. So they're going to have real problems because their guilt and shame and all the fear that is attached to that through urinary tract storing heavy metals and the fear stored in the kidneys, it's going to go and all the heavy metal pinball machine mixed up with digestion dishwasher in the nervous system is just going to go completely nuts. So, better learn to sweat and do heavy metal detoxes and move, otherwise it's going to have much more problems and it's only going to get worse. High energy, low energy, and what's actually where you're actually at in your sine wave curve of your vibration. Cool. So, that's the interesting one on perception, that's for sure. It's going to show people up. Okay, so Jesus, or the solar hero, got angry in the temple. Yeah, people were just, they weren't treating themselves or the system or other people like a temple of worship. So he got angry, tore up the place. Fair enough, it's got a lot of fire, right? Sometimes the fire is a little bit, not always straight up and down perfect, sometimes it wavers a little bit in the flame. So you might go into your liver and get a bit angry, or you might go into the spleen and go a little bit fluffy, nurturing and feminine. Yeah. Hang on, have we seen that in our solar hero now? I think so. Crucifixion. Sometimes I like to break up the word because it's right simple. Super easy right there in front of you. But we've been cast a spell on what things actually mean. Crucifixion. So is that a crucible? Or a fixation on the crucial? Possibly. And so especially the establishment are going to try to crucify constantly. They did in Jesus' time, they're always going to do with the themes and symbols of the solar hero, because stirs them up and changes, and it's just too much in their body and their energy field. So, and of course, take Jesus for instance. So many people were focused on him. Yeah, it's like the Dalai Lama now. You know, he's a... No, I didn't give that one away. You thought I might have, but he's got so much loving, beautiful energy. He's like the world's grandfather. So, a lot of people are fixated on what he has to say because he has a high energy and beautiful messages from really high vibrations. Fantastic. Love it. And there's going to be a lot of mass media, a lot of propaganda. Everybody in those days were writing scrolls. They were listening to parables and stories. Anything to be around the solar hero. Again, that's focused energy and attention. Who's got the most focused energy and attention now? Good name! The 12 stages of the cross, which are essentially representations of archetypes through the hero's journey. You know, we all have to have our cross to bear, get rid of our sins or our past, and learn our lessons in our lifetime, hopefully as quick as possible. I like to do that very, very fast. You can do it in 2-3 years. Has there been... The solar hero had ups and downs in their energy, and what's a big energy form in our planet today is obviously money. So the solar hero is going to attract a lot of money energy, with maybe some ups and downs and lessons to learn, because in our world now we need money energy as a symbol of power and control, or at least some sort of authority and richness, essentially. Stories and propaganda, there's lots from every level of perception because they're all focused on that number one energy source. And of course, this person is going, the solar hero is going to have so much energy that he's going to need to share. Because what are they going to do with it all? There's just so much. And what, is that going to be sharing stories or parables or beautiful messages? Or is that going to be sharing on now Facebook, social media, Twitter, emails? This is what we're trying to do to change the system to help you sharing abundant energy. Also focus and attention of where the person with their good intentions of the solar hero is trying to go and trying to take a society with them. Yeah? And naturally they're going to have to transmute all this energy and focused attention from the individuals. So if someone's throwing a lot of guilt and shame at them, we're not exactly helping them reach the higher vibration of the goals of the solar hero and therefore lifting all of us up with them. But if we can send them at least some love and acceptance and get rid of the mass media stories and help and assist and see through it, it's certainly going to be helpful for all of our ascension. So I see this person as an enema to the system, because that's kind of my purification theme. So basically putting an enema into the system that is really not working for us, and can't we see the stuff fly? People are getting fired, systems are changing, we're changing ideas around what is good for us as a general society and people. So, have we figured out who the solar hero of right now is? I'm sure you've probably got ideas. And for the great reveal, it is a particular trump card. Alright, it seems easy when you look at the word. Number one, Trump. If you're playing a Trump card, you're going to have enough fire, you're going to have the resources, the energy, and you're just going to go, number one, I win. Try that, right? Have a look at the crown. The crown chakra, hang on. This dude has a wig that everybody is fixated on. Right? He's got so much energy that he can't actually have natural hair there. So there's lots of connection and lots of fire. And then, of course, this wig goes everywhere. And so many people in the world have got websites and they're fixated on the different things and attributes that it has. Hang on. Millions and billions of people focused on this solar hero's crown. Right there, isn't it? Gold. Gold is symbol for fire and wealth and abundance. Yeah, there's a fair bit of that. Trump towers. straight up ascension, straight up Sushumna in the chakra system as well for number 1. Fits in, doesn't it? It's loads of fire, and there's a crown, and there's always lots of gold. So, have we figured out, and then take this one and go, hey, with all those themes, who else was the solar hero in the past? Trick one. How we go with that? Change of your belief systems. You're going to perhaps change the way we perceive things in the future, especially on the news and media. Interesting one, huh? So, who's the solar hero?